Hey guys, so today we are working on a project. We are, well, I say we as in me and you because you're here too, but I'm rebuilding our bamboo gazebo. So I originally had like a metal gazebo. It's like what's behind me, and it had a canopy. And over time, the metal just completely rusted and it actually collapsed one day. Made a huge mess. So I actually rebuilt the roof structure. I kept these same corner bars and I reinforced it going that way and the other way, and I created a roof structure out of bamboo and it held up so well. It even held up in a hurricane. Like, it just did so good. But I had done the bamboo structure a little bit smaller than the old gazebo was. The old gazebo was a 12 by 12 and I made the bamboo structure like an 8 by 6. So I made it much smaller because I was a little, let's say, nervous about the ability of it to withstand, because we get a lot of wind here. But it did great. I mean, even during the hurricane, it didn't even so much as rock. So now our tarp became, we were just literally using like a outdoor, like, I guess tarp that you would cover pretty much anything outside, or a camping tarp as the top. I like that because it's cheap and it's, you know, it lasts a pretty good amount of time. When we had the actual metal gazebo, I guess the tent covering that it came with, those were like $100 a piece, and they would get rips in them like so often. So I really just like using like a $20 tarp. That's just so much better. So, but we have a huge slab of concrete out here and I really want to use the most of it. We got a lot of sun here, and this is kind of like our shaded area, the area where we can work out here, where my fiance can work and I can work on our crafts or gardening or whatnot. So we really needed to utilize the full space of the concrete. So that's what we're doing. We are building a freaking huge bamboo gazebo. I have measured this out to be 18 by 12, so it's big. It is spanning all the way from here all the way down there, and as you can see, there's a lot happening. Here we've got, this is just craft stuff, but over there we've got bamboo and dustpans and brooms and tools and everything that we are using to construct this. I already have one 18-foot long pole here, and I drew a diagram of how I'm going to be supporting this. My original design was a little bit different and it held up fine, but now that I'm redoing the whole thing, I'm going to improve it. I'm going to make it better. So I am supporting it a little differently, just to give it a better structure, make it a little stronger. So let's go build this. I've already cut my 18-foot bamboo poles. I need to go cut a bunch of 10-foot ones, and then we're going to start attaching this. Okay, also, I started to decide that I wanted to spray paint this because it was like super rusted, just black metal like this, looked like this. And I had this really pretty spray paint. I actually got to redo some kitchen chairs that I picked off the side of the road, and then as I was spray painting it, I think it looks really pretty. I think it's called something copper, metallic copper or something like that. And it's just a really pretty, kind of bronze look with a little bit of orange tint to it. And it's beautiful and I like it, but I don't have enough. I do not have enough to do all 4 pillars. So I did this one, not even fully, and the can's like half gone. So that's a project I'm gonna have to save for another day. It would have been much easier to spray paint these on the ground, but I just don't have enough of that, and I'm not gonna go to the store because I need to get this done, because we need this covered area for a project that we are doing in a couple days, so this needs to be done. So off we go. But before we go off, I'm going to show you guys how I am supporting this. I would say the layers that I'm using to keep this together. Okay, so my original bamboo thing was tied together with caution tape, parachute cord, and stuff called UPS tape, like and sorry, what is that stuff called? The clear tape, the like packing tape. So this time I decided I wanted to make that stronger as well, even though it held up even in a hurricane. So it doesn't look that beautiful at the moment, but it is super secure, and this is just the first layer because I'm doing 2 layers and I'm angling the roof because we have a bad issue with our old tent. The actual metal one would pool water in the little pockets of the tent, so I'm making this a steep angle so that it does not do that. So first, the bamboo poles, although they're light, they're very long, so they're a little heavy. So when I first get them up there, I wrapped electrical tape, just really quick to just secure it slightly. And then after it was just kind of sitting on there, being held by the electrical cord, then I put Gorilla Tape over it, all weatherproof Gorilla Tape. And then the zip ties. The zip ties are really what's holding it really good. The other ones are just kind of an extra security because I don't want this thing to fall. You know, I want it to be really secure, so that's the idea there. Last time I made it too, I didn't even measure my bamboo poles. I just kind of guesstimated. This time I measured everything. I cut everything to measurement. I really wanted to make this thing proper. This time as proper as like a zombie mix and match hybrid gazebo can be. Okay, so we're back here with our bamboo. As you can see, I've already cut some poles yesterday that are laying there. But this is my new favorite bamboo cutting tool. It is just a hand saw by Craftsman. I've had lots of different saws in the past that I've used to cut the bamboo. I always do it by hand. I'm not too keen on power tools, electricity, like as far as being outdoors, dealing with cords and whatnot. I like to do things by hand. So this one is the best, and I will tell you why. It's not because it cuts so much better. It cuts about the same as like a hacksaw or like a big saw, but the thin size, because as your bamboo gets bigger and taller, it gets really tight in there, and it's very hard to get a larger saw, like if you're trying to get a middle piece or a side piece, because they're all different sizes roughly. So you want to pick ones that are the right size for your project. Like for the very top of the tent, I wanted the thinner ones. They're still strong, but they're lighter weight. I wanted the lighter weight stuff at the top, heavier stuff at the bottom. So the side poles that are going to be like the vertical poles, they're going to be the thickest ones. So this just helps me get between the bamboo so easy. One more tip when selecting your bamboo. So there is new bamboo and there's old bamboo. This is an example of a new bamboo. So this is a new shoot that shot up, and as you can see, it's totally smooth. Like, there is no leaves, there's none of that. And that's because it is new still. When the bamboo gets this age, at least this type of bamboo, I'd say this is about 3 years old. Not this particular cane. This cane is probably only 2 or 3 weeks old, but the bush itself is about 3 years old. So they will shoot up really tall canes, and they will not produce leaves like back there until they're at the very top height they're going to reach. Then they'll start branching off. Now, they are not fully solid until they start branching off. So if you choose to use a cane like this, it's not going to be as strong the further and further you get up as one that is already starting to spread out its leaves. So I actually found this out by doing it the wrong way. I think it's because, I don't know if it has a lot of moisture in it still because it's growing or whatnot, but you'll notice the end is already very limp. Like, I could snap that end off with my hands, which you can't do that normally with bamboo. So now the end closest to the ground had already started to harden, so this is fine to use, but I don't want to use up there. So obviously a pole like this was not going to work for my 18-foot long piece. That was not going to work. If you do choose to use one of these young bamboos, because you may think that it's fine or it feels strong, as it dries out it changes. This is an example of a young one that I cut. Now as you can see, it was just starting to get its little shoots, right? But these were not hardened yet. I can take this and literally rip it off, okay? Keep that in mind. This stalk, it is so delicate, I can snap it. I can snap it. That's not good. That's not something you want supporting your structure. Versus this one that is about the same size, probably actually skinnier. It is very, I don't think I can snap this. Yeah, see, I can barely bend it, but it's not gonna snap. If I snapped it this way, I can't do that. There is no snapping this thing. It is hard and firm because it already had, like these are short, but that's because I cut them off. It already had the long branches coming off of it. So you want to make sure your bamboo is strong bamboo and fully mature before you use it for a project, or it's just gonna kind of wither away there. So let's get to cutting the bamboo. So we have measured our bamboo pole. So this one is a lot thicker round than the ones that I'm using for the top of the canopy. So the ones at the top of the canopy, I didn't want them any rounder than like this. You know, I wanted them thin so they would be light because they're going across. Whereas this is what's going to be helping to support those things that are going across. And this thing, I can't get my fingers around. So I wanted something thicker for them to sit on top of, and this is just going to be a vertical pole. So what I did was I know that I need two that are at least 8 feet tall, and then two that are 6.5 feet tall, because I'm doing it at an angle. So I'm gonna have the 8 feet on one side and then the 6.5 on the other. So it's gonna go down like this away from the house. So the rain just washes off instead of pooling in the tent like it used to. So here's another example. Obviously this was a nice firm one because you have all these branches that are coming off. Okay, so I have measured it. I'm just gonna saw through this. It's really easy to saw through bamboo when you have a nice sharp saw. And it's really not difficult. I mean, it cuts pretty easily, you'll see. And I want to make sure that these are very flat. Now, for this project, since I'm building it on concrete, I can measure everything exactly, like to the inches that I need going up from the ground. If you are building a bamboo structure that is going into the ground, like you're building it on dirt, like some of the teepees that I have built, or I have a arch tunnel made of bamboo, you are going to want to account for your above ground and your below ground. And sometimes it's hard to measure exactly below ground because you're doing it in dirt, you've got different levels on top of the ground. It's hard to know exactly, once you have it buried for support, where it's going to sit. So just be aware that you want to leave a few extra inches in that case in your measurements, so you can cut some off here and there if you need to make everything level once it's in the ground. But for our project today, it's on concrete, so I can measure everything and be exact about it. So okay, so we also want to get rid of all of these little knobs here, so we're just going to cut these off. That's what I did for all of my cross beams as well. That's the only thing about using fully mature bamboo. It may seem tempting to use the immature bamboo because it's all smooth, but it's just not as strong. And these things really don't take all that long to cut off. It's pretty quick. Sometimes there just can be a lot of them. And it's just gonna help it be smooth and not snag on anything, especially the tarp, and to put holes in it. There we go, all smooth. Okay, but this end, the end that I originally cut it from the clump of canes is obviously cut in an angle. That's not gonna work. So I just wanna lop it off here and smooth it out. And sometimes if you want a really straight cut, you can cut through half going one way and then flip it over and go the other half, because sometimes when there's a lot of pressure on the bamboo, it will split, which is fine. I haven't had any issues with it being less structurally sound being split, but obviously if you can have it intact, that would be ideal. There we go. Now let's go see if I actually cut this to the right height. I may have made it too short, I'm not sure. Let's go find out. Okay, so I think I made it to the right height. And what I want to do is attach this right to the corner here with zip ties. So this will go up, and then our long beams that hold the tent are gonna go across going that way and then angle down this way. So I already have the 18-foot long ones going from the top of these racks down. That is just for support. That has nothing to do with the tent itself. This is going to be attached to the tent. So we have a support layer, and then we have the actual layer that's holding the tent. Yeah, but this seems perfect. It seems a great height and everything. So I'm going to zip tie this to here, and then eventually I want to probably pile rocks around the bottom corner just to give it even more support. I already have rocks on top of stepping stones piled up on top of the bottom of these, but I want to add rocks going around the bamboo as well, just for, again, added stability, and I think it'll look cool. So maybe we'll get the zip ties. Don't fall. You might fall. Okay, so we've got our bamboo going against the pole, and we've got our zip ties. Now, one zip tie is not enough to make it around there, so I'm just going to attach two together. You can do that just by sticking them in until they click. I could have bought another bag of really long ones because they come in different sizes, but I don't like to be wasteful, and this is literally a bag of 100, and that's more than I need, so I will just use 2 for this purpose. And at the end I'll go through and cut off these extra ties, but yeah, this is really secure. I'm going to put, I mean, it still turns obviously because it's round, but after I secure them all the way down and all the way up, it probably won't even do that anymore. We've got some weird angles going on, right guys? is what our first leg looks like. And we'll just repeat the process over there, and then we will make 2 shorter ones for right here that are the exact same length of that. For the sake of not making this video super long, I'm gonna just go ahead and do all that, and then I will let you guys know what's the next step.
We could be a part of something new if we only stand together now. We know just what to do, and every single day I stand and stare at your house upon the riverside to see if you are there, and I wait for the time when your cool eyes make me turn away from all the lies and return to you again. It's a fool's
Okay, so the impasse that we are at right now is that I have both ends temporarily secured with the electrical tape. Also, by the way, this works really good because it is a little stretchy, so it holds it in place good, but then it gives you a little wiggle room to move it around and adjust it as you're dealing with the other side. But as you can see, the bamboo is sinking down. That is not because of the weight, that is because this particular piece of bamboo is slightly curved, which often happens. The taller you get, it typically does tend to have a curve to it. Now, there's a couple things you can do. If it's fresh bamboo, you could bend it straight, lay it on the ground, weigh it down, wait a couple weeks for it to dry out, and then it will stay straight. I don't really want to wait a couple weeks to a month for that to happen because I really need this structure in the next few days. So what I'm going to do, as I was thinking about it, and actually I like this idea so much more because it improves the structure. So these beams right here, the vertical ones going up, I'm going to add a second 8-foot tall bamboo cane to that one and that one, which is going to create the support enough to keep it up all the way across, and it will just make it even stronger, so that's a plus. So we will just be adding more support to this. And luckily I already have some old bamboo canes, like the one leaning against the door there, that are from the old tent. So I'm gonna just go ahead and repurpose those because those are plenty long and sturdy enough, so I'd have less bamboo to chop down. Let's go do that.
Secondhand, I felt a bit forgotten. Not your plan, but now the days of silence outgrow the fun things we have done. But tell me, do you wanna carry on? Plants don't grow without water, and they cave when it's cold. We could go till we're older. Put your head on my shoulder and let's enjoy the ride. When we started, our wishes aligned. We were like yin and yang combined. Now the tables have turned. Can we live and unlearn? You tell me. Plants don't grow without water, and they cave when it's cold. We could go till we're older. Put your head on my shoulder and let's enjoy the
Okay, it is starting to rain. I have the center secured, the sides secured, and now look how nice and straight it is. Probably not perfectly straight, but straight enough so the water flows off the right way. And it's starting to rain, so I'm going to take the camera inside. I'm not doing anything too major. I'm just literally going to be cutting just a straight piece of bamboo to secure that side to that side. Yeah, so I just got a bunch of those to cut and secure, and then I'll show you guys the next step as I get there. Okay, so now I have just the bars going across here to make this a perfect square for the bottom layer. Now I will do the final part of, like, I would say the base structure is to make the slanted bar that goes from there to down here. So I just made sure my bamboo that I had was the right length, and now I'm going to just attach that. Then the only thing left is to do some really thin bamboo as a couple just crossbars going across, just to keep the tent more taut. So that's the last step. So now we have the structure down. We have our beautiful triangle that will be our roof. And now I'm just going to take that long part right there and just do a cross beam. I'll probably do, I don't know, 2 or 3 of those. And those I want to be very thin because they're just to support, kind of make the tent stay on an even keel. So I'll do maybe 2 or 3 going this way and then a few going that way. So it'll just look like a crisscross pattern. So I will show you guys that after I am done doing that, because it's just the same basic thing I've been doing. So we're just gonna make that crisscross pattern. Okay, once again, change of design slightly. So I do not have enough really thin poles that will be 18 feet long to go this way all the way across, like the thicker ones. I have lots of the thicker ones, but not of the thinner ones, and I want the actual canopy in the center to be very light. So what I'm going to do is, I was going to put a middle support beam anyway, going from that end over to the other end, just for added support. So what I'm going to do is put that in first, and then I'm going to use 2 9-foot poles going on both sides so that it meets in the middle and it'll still be just as secure, and I can get a lot more lightweight, smaller 9-foot poles, so I can make it a nice pattern. So that's what we'll do first, is put in that center pole.
Bright flashing by the street lights. Keep waiting till you've arrived. Let it unfold. Let it unfold. Give me a reason to feel right. I keep waiting for the morning light. I let him fall. Let him fall.
Okay, so all of the cross work is done. I've got beams going that way and this way. And then I also reinforced the sides a little more. I put another one here and on the other side, just so extra support. This is what it looks like. But I did run out of zip ties. I was wrong. The 100 zip ties was not enough. So I Amazon Prime some zip ties. So they're coming in sometime today. And the tarp should be in by tomorrow. So tomorrow morning we should finish this all up. Okay, so I already filmed this, or I thought I did, but the camera wasn't on. So, and I actually am really disappointed about that because a hawk flew like right behind me, like right here under the bamboo, and now he's sitting up there So I was really excited because I thought I got him flying by me on camera, but apparently not because I didn't hit the record button. Anyway, it's the next day and the zip ties came. I had to order more because I ran out. Apparently 100 is not enough, especially if you're using them double. And I reinforced it in a lot of places I wasn't expecting to. I added a lot of new poles than the original plan. So the zip ties have come. I'm going to make sure all the joints are nice and secure, and then it's time to put the tarp on. So it is a 12 by 20 foot tarp. I made the structure 10.5 by 18 feet. So that gives me on some sides a foot hangover, on some sides a little bit less than that, because I want it to not just be flat, but to go over the corners a little bit. So let's go ahead and do that. But first I need to clean up because I was tripping on everything yesterday because I've made such a mess. So I'm gonna clean up so I can easily move my lettering around and yeah, get this thing finished.
Debating how you lived your life, bright flashes of white light. Let it unfold. Let it unfold. Your search for the truth has begun. Believing you dream of the one. Keep dancing the whole way. Keep dancing the whole way. Keep dancing.
There's somebody watching.
Keep dancing the whole way.
So I want to come out. I want to see what you're doing.
It's easy to let go.
Drive him, man. You can't come out here.
Feel slow.
You've made a mess of the curtain, though.
Lose control.
Yes, tear the curtain off. Yay.
Lose control. Bright flashing by the street lights. I'm awake until you arrive. Let it unfold. Let it unfold. Losing your sight. Pitch black night. You try to rewind and make things right. Keep dancing the whole way. 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 Keep dancing the whole way.
Okay, so I've got all four corners on, just temporarily secured. Now I'm going to make sure that it's centered and pulled tight. The tarp is finished. I finished it yesterday, but the weather out here quickly deteriorated. So I didn't get a chance to show you guys how it was all finished. And I'm out here early today because I need to pick everything up in the yard and put pots away, because we are getting a it was a tropical storm, but now it's a hurricane, so that arrives tonight into tomorrow. So I have a little bit of time to pick everything up in the yard. Yeah, so I'll just quickly show you guys the tent before it starts raining again. Okay, so this is the finished tent, gazebo, whatever you want to call it. I guess you call it a gazebo. And it's been raining a lot since yesterday, and it has held up so well. And all kinds of things. So, like, this corner is technically like 3 inches shorter than that corner. So, which, I mean, it's fine. It's not looking for perfection here, and that's why you have this little pull up here. Because actually, I think the tent was actually just slightly off-centered, and it's what made this side slightly shorter, but I mean, everything is still covered and fine, and it doesn't even so much as shake in the wind. All the supports just are doing great, but this hurricane will be the ultimate test of it, right? So I am so pleased. There were a few spots where I needed to add more beams. I wanted to see how it did with the water. So as you can see right here, there's just a little bit of water that pools there. So I need to add a few more of these. I have this one here, just temporary, as you can see, because it goes just to there. Eventually it will go all the way across, but it was just because the incline at this side of the tent is not as steep as up there, so the water tends to pool before it falls off. So just to keep from putting any stress on it, I mean, it's rained a lot and it didn't get that much water, I'll put a long pole of this just right here. And then same thing with this tiny little corner over here, a little bit of wool. So I will put a stick there as well. Other than that, it is wonderful, and we have all this space, so much space, and it'll look great once this is all cleaned up too, and I'll put the table in here. So yep, that's what I am going to be doing right now, is just cleaning all this up and putting my pots back on the corners, filling that with soil, just little things to finish it off. I just put more poles up anywhere where there was a weakness in the tarp, and now I would say it's perfect. It's so good, and it gives us so much shade. It's awesome.